Welcome to another episode of Ball at All Costs podcast. This week's a big one. I'm excited this week. I always say that. It seems every week I'm saying that we have some fantastic guests, and today is no different. But before we get into all of that and before we do our check-ins, I'm just going to do the admin. I always do it. The subscribers are going up, so thank you. You are listening. But if you didn't listen last week when I said stop what you're doing, hit the subscribe button, smash the like, hit that notification, and please leave a comment. We're bringing you pro footballers. We've had a few on before, but we've got a current pro on with us today. And we're giving you fantastic shows, if I do say so myself. So please, as I said, hit that subscribe, that like, that notification, and leave a comment. And if you're listening on the audio feed, please leave a review and leave a like. And now we will continue. How are we doing, Dej?
I've been better, to be honest.
I know.
I've been better, but we'll leave that alone. I think for me, there needs to be something looked at in terms of grassroots football about the time of year. Because at this time of year, we know that at grassroots level, the pitches just can't handle a little bit of rain. And this is our second week of non-football. The last week, the opposition couldn't muster a team. I guess you played them this weekend, although I'm not sure if you were there personally. And then this weekend, we had it rained off. And, I think November to January ending should be an indoor season. And I think that needs to be another discussion. We need to get people from the area. I do feel like, what is the point of having games fixtured at this time of the year when the likelihood is they're going to be called off? So 2 weeks of non-football. So I've been watching the pro game, if that's what you want to call it, and I have got no comment in relation to the pro game.
So I feel your pain on that point. But with regards to the season, I mean, I guess some would argue you guys should try and get an Astro pitch, but it is called grassroots. It is football, and football is played on grass. So I know what you're going to say. I just want to make a comment on the team that we played this week, that you played last week.
Didn't play last week.
Didn't play last week.
Yeah.
I understand there's something going on there. So I think you guys, the game was called off, and I think it was because they couldn't get a side out. There's some personal things going on. He didn't say, but he kind of alluded to it this week. So I think that one's an anomaly, but I do get your point around the weather, because our game against you almost got called off as well. So I hear you. Yeah. Mustapha Carayol, pro player. I haven't introduced you, sorry. I'm just going on familiarity here. Sorry. We have an international footballer in our midst, a seasoned professional with over 400 career games and 50 career goals, a tricky winger, if I do say so myself, from what I've seen, who loves the far corner from his top 10 goals I've seen on YouTube. Joining us today. How are you doing, Muzza?
I'm not too bad. Pulled my hammy on the weekend, so
thanks.
A little bit of a hiccup, but overall not too bad. Enjoying it still, and just hanging in there, man. How's everything with you guys?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you very much. I just want to tell the listeners, really, because you are you're still playing. We'll get into that, but it's funny how things work, right? Like, we didn't know each other. And then I think we kind of crossed paths on a Saturday morning. Our boys were playing at a soccer school together. And I told off a parent, which I spoke about on this pod, ironically. I told off a parent. I said, I did tell him off, to be fair, because I was actually coaching that day. They pulled me out of retirement and asked me to help out. And I ended up telling off a parent for bad behavior. And then you actually came and spoke to our boys. So then you interacted with my oldest son on that evening, wasn't it? Or was it the following day? We had a presentation. And then you mentioned, about that incident. And we had a conversation about parents and their behaviours a bit more. So then, yeah, ever since then, I've spoken to you and I've seen you, and obviously you're a friend of the pod because you know one of our former guests as well on the pod, who's our manager of our boys Saturday side. So be nice to people is the message there, because you never know who they know and when you'll meet them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that being said, I guess let's talk about you. Let's talk about where you're now, but more importantly, where it started.
Well, at the moment, I've literally in the summer ended up going into non-league, and I've actually gone part-time just because my body can't handle it anymore, and I kind of want that freedom to actually just be a soccer dad and be able to help my son start his journey if that's what he wants to do. So yeah, that's given me a lot of freedom. But in terms of where I started, I grew up in Peckham. I started playing at the famous Damilola Taylor Centre.
Okay.
To play football. So I lived in Peckham my whole life until I moved away at 17 to obviously start my football career. But yeah, grassroots, started playing for Peckham All Stars. Ended up in year 7, actually. No, in year 6, I started at Millwall. I can't actually remember how I started, to be honest. I think one of the coaches, Damilola Taylor Centre, asked me to come down to one of the soccer schools. Ended up going into the academy, but at the time, Peckham was a bit rough. Well, very rough. And I used to have to walk down a long road and into Bermondsey to go training. And yeah, I ended up obviously just having to leave just for safety reasons and whatever. Ended up going into secondary school. First school game.
Sorry, Muzzle. I want to highlight that. I was going to leave it, but I thought, do you know what? No, because I had a similar kind of experience. Not similar in that regard. I think it's going to be slightly different. But do you know how mad it is that you had to stop or pivot in your footballing journey because of literally you couldn't get to training, right? Because of the area. Because the reason I say that's mad is because there are no year 6, year 7 boys now, not many, that are going to football by themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Everyone's driven now.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone is driven. I had to go through Eltham at the time that Stephen Lawrence was murdered to get to Sparrows Lane when I was younger, by myself. That was mental. Would never happen today.
Yeah.
So I say that to say that, yeah.
I've actually got another story which I'm going to go on to when I move.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll let you continue, but I just wanted to highlight that is just wild. You just brushed over it.
Oh yeah, it was different.
It's wild.
That in terms of like parents being able to take you football. My mum didn't have a car. My dad had a car for a period. So yeah, it was just make my own way on a bus with the boys. And yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? But yeah, so I ended up going to Gillingham. Ended up getting scouted after my first school game, signing there. And there was a few of us from Peckham that used to travel, and like Camberwell. So they used to meet us at New Cross Gate, pick us up in a minibus and take us training and back. And basically we're talking about safety and stuff like that. We ended up getting stopped by a few boys while waiting at the petrol station in New Cross. One of my friends ended up getting robbed. It became a bit of an issue, and in the end, they had to change it and actually pick us up from Peckham and drop us back to Peckham.
Yeah,
but like obviously there was times where you're obviously going all the way to Gillingham in Kent, and we're getting home at like 10 p.m. and having to wake up for school the next day, which was tough. But my experience at Gillingham, truthfully, I didn't think I was ready. Nah. I was like the big dog in my in my Sunday league team, my school team, and then I went there and it was kind of like, this is proper football. And to be honest, I actually didn't really enjoy it. It kind of took me away from what I was used to, playing with my friends. I'm the kind of the big dog, and then you go into a new place and it's like, well, nobody knows you here. It's in the middle of nowhere. But I had actually good coaches who actually looked after me. And in the end, I had to leave just because of not being able to get enough sleep at night, getting back late, having to eat late. And my mum was just like, perfect. And I think it was kind of affecting my behavior in school a little bit as well.
Yeah.
And I ended up leaving.
And so how long was that journey? Just to Gillingham, just out of curiosity, so we can contextualize that today's.
Was a season.
So a season there, and how long did it take you to get home from Gillingham?
Well, it used to be, so from New Cross Gate, I'm talking with some traffic, maybe
2 hours,
hour and a half.
Okay,
maybe about that. 2 hours if the traffic's bad.
Yeah.
You're having to travel through South London, but there used to be a few of us, and like we were really close, so it actually weren't too bad. It was just getting home late, and obviously my parents having to not being able to do no school work, and it was tough. But at the same time, I didn't think I was ready because I didn't really enjoy the football. I probably enjoyed more the riding with the boys, and the coach was cool. But in terms of football, I can't remember much, to be honest.
Can I just ask, was the lack of enjoyment maybe due to the fact that, I'm just guessing at the time I grew up in Tottenham, it would have been free flowing, it would have been Jogger Benita. I mean, I was known as Jorginho, so good they named me twice. And then you've gone off to Gillingham, and maybe it's structured. They want you to do less skills, more passing. Was it some of that going on?
I think at the time I remember going there, and Ryan Bertrand was there.
Oh yeah, Bertrand. Yeah,
because I think Chelsea brought him from Gillingham, and I just remember him being very, very good, and me just feeling like, I'm good, but I don't think I'm ready for these lot. And I remember just playing in the games and not really enjoying it. I think I can remember one game that I enjoyed, and that was because I had played a year above, and it was with the boys that I travelled in with. So I think I was more comfortable. But I can't remember enjoying it much, to be honest. I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest. And it was probably the same with when I went. So I left in year 8 when I played Sunday League year 9, and ended up, I think at the end of year 9, ended up getting scouted by Charlton.
Okay.
So I go into Charlton, and the same. Like I kind of went in there and I thought, I don't think I'm ready for this yet. A lot of doubt. Struggled. It was a much bigger step to Gillingham. And I ended up leaving because one of the coaches spoke to my mum and said I had to change the way I spoke because they said I spoke too hood.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Honestly. So they spoke to my mum, and my mum ended up pulling me out. She was like, this ain't the place for you.
So did she have that conversation with you at the time?
I was there. I was there when they had the conversation.
There?
Yeah, I was there when we had the conversation. They were just like, I had to kind of change the way I spoke and whatever. And my mum just didn't understand, and she was like, what's that got to do with football? But at the time, I think it was some more stuff because I was injured at the time. I had just started growing. I was really small at growing up. I think I started having a growth spurt at 15, 16. I was one of the smallest in my school. And I was struggling to play. And then they thought I was a bit hood from Peckham. And my mum ended up pulling me out.
That's crazy. But it's we're talking 20 odd years ago, right? Or over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
To contextualize it, but even so, it's wild. I just want to talk about the growing pains, because we haven't really touched on growing pains on this pod, and it is a real thing. We see boys that are super tall. We see boys for their age. We see boys and girls that have shot up overnight, literally in the summer, and we hear of these growing pains. But like, what is it? How does it affect you? It never happened to me. It might happen to my son. But like, how did you cope? What did you do? Can you remember much of it?
To be honest, like it was the knee pain. I remember was the biggest problem.
Joints, yeah, and the knee.
Yeah, the joints. Groins was sore, like lower back, and yeah, it was just crippling. I couldn't play, and at the time I was that small, so I actually needed to grow. And to be fair, they had actually said like they weren't sure. I remember when you have your like, it was one of the first few meetings where you have your reviews and whatever, and they were worried about my height because my mum comes in. My mum's not the biggest. They hadn't seen my dad, and they were like, about I don't think he'll be big enough to be able to play at a really high level. And my mum obviously explained to them that, listen, my dad's 6'4", all his brothers are, and I would grow. And then, but at the time, I was just crippling and I couldn't play. I literally couldn't play. Like I was in pain every time I tried to play.
Yes, man.
And for that little period, I just basically just sat out.
It's horrible. So you had this feeling of doubt from Gillingham. The doubt crept in again at Charlton, but in addition to that, you were literally you weren't your normal self. You couldn't really, and pretty much every time you tried to play, you were in pain, right?
Pain.
And then you got told you're too hood on top of that.
Basically.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I'll let you continue.
I had to change my vocab and how I spoke. That's what they said.
Okay.
But, so in the end, I ended up going back to Sunday League. Played for the 2 years before I left school, the year and a half-ish, at Leighton Square, which I loved. Played with all my friends. We were successful, had a really good coach who is still a really close friend now. And, I loved it, man. I loved it and made me build my confidence. You'll probably hear through my story anyway. I'm very hard on myself. Which, as I've gotten older, I've kind of learned to control. But at first, and to be honest, for maybe the first 10 years of my career, it was crippling because of how much of a perfectionist I was, rather than enjoying the game. But and ended up enjoying it, and ended up leaving school, went to Woking. They had one of the college schemes, which was good. I didn't really play as much as I thought I would. To be honest, we had some really good players. We had some really, really good players, and they were probably better than me at the time.
Right.
I knew I was good, and I was getting better, and I was developing at a good rate. Well, now I can say I was developing at a good rate because I ended up having a good career. But obviously, at the time, you're kind of like,
no, I'm in an iron.
Yeah, you're a bit unsure. So I ended up not really playing. Didn't play any FA Youth Cup games in my first year. And then I get a random call in the just before pre-season, and my friend rings me and goes, he's going on trial to Swindon, Swindon Town, and he goes, they're looking for another winger. So I end up going with him. We end up playing Yeovil. I score in the first 5 minutes. The first team manager and that are there, and they took me off at halftime and signed me.
Wow! Can I say something? Do you see how different that is? 20 years ago, over 20 years ago to today, that pretty much happened to a mutual friend of ours, Kevin, when we played in the trial game. He scored the only goal, literally took him off and signed him, basically. Like, that's how it used to happen. Not anymore. Sorry.
Yeah. And so the first team manager at the time was Dennis Wise. and play it, and they just took a liking to me, and I ended up signing there. Had a really good youth team manager who helped me, and that was the start of the professional journey. Paul Ince was a first team coach there at the time. Mm-hmm. Well, first team coach. I played a few reserve games with him. He really liked me. He ended up getting the job at Macclesfield. Took me Macclesfield with him.
This is a youth team player?
As a youth team player still, yeah. As a youth team player.
When you say youth team, how old is that? Sorry, just to be clear. I
was 17.
Okay.
17, yeah. 17. And then I was meant to sign a professional contract at Macclesfield. I remember getting on the 63 bus from Peckham to King's Cross. Paul Ince rings my mum, goes, where are you guys? And we're like, we're on the way to Macclesfield to sort out a contract. And he goes, I'm leaving Macclesfield, I'm getting a job at MK Dons. So get off the bus, don't go. I'm going to take him MK Dons with me. Ended up taking me MK Dons. Ended up signing a 2-year pro just before my 18th birthday. And made my debut, I think maybe a week after, or the same week as my 18th birthday. Yeah.
Oh, what a present to give yourself! Amazing. Listen, I'm going to stop you there, Muzza, because for me that's an amazing journey. It's an amazing journey riddled with self-doubt, perseverance, and injury, and literally, I want to say setbacks, but there were challenges. There were definitely challenges there that you kind of, you're able to gloss over now. You've had a good career, over 400 appearances in league football. So you've had a good career. But it sounded like to me that there was a lot of doubt. And I know what it's like. I'm sure we all do know it's like when you go into a changing room or you play a game, you think, they're a bit better than me. Like that. It's not the best feeling, especially you now being on trial, you thinking, right, how can I get in here? Like, I've got a couple of questions. Deji's the resident bundler, Dejini over there. I don't know how we're spelling that, by the way. Still don't know how we're spelling that. But I guess the two questions I wanted to ask you, well, the first one was, did you always know you were going to be a professional footballer? And I guess the second one after that is, you obviously became a professional footballer. So what were the keys? Who was guiding you, and what was your support system? Because I know parents back then didn't always have the same kind of input they do now. So they're the two questions. I'll leave it there. Did you always know, and what was your support system like on that?
I always knew. Like some of my friends that I grew up with in Peckham, they always reminded me on how cocky I was, and I always said I'd play football. Did I believe that deep down? I don't know, because throughout my whole career, I've always suffered with anxiety. Throughout the first 15 years, probably no one knew, because it was only my mum.
Yeah,
that helped me through it. After I actually said it to my friends, they were like, no way. They used to come and watch me play in front of 40, 50, 60,000. And they just were like, no, the way you play is impossible. But I proper suffered with it. And what was the second bit?
No, let's stay here for a second. Let's just stay here. You just hit with the anxiety bomb. So I'm picking up, right, I'm no expert here, but I'm picking up, like, you have got a relentless drive. You've got some what's the word I'm looking for? Coping mechanisms. Like, you suffered with doubt, like as you touched on. Not suffered with doubt, you had doubt when you went into these places, but you kind of said you were cocky, you were confident, but deep down you weren't really sure if you were going to be a pro. You had anxiety that riddled your career for the first 15 years, but you managed it somehow, and nobody was able to know. We need to focus on that. Don't worry about the next question. Anxiety. What level of anxiety did you face, and how did you deal with that?
You know what? I think it started when was probably about 13, 14 when you start playing tournaments. Mm-hmm. So we used to have tournaments at the Damilola Taylor Centre, and it was a bit of pressure. No, it was a lot of pressure. I think it was more of the fear of failure. I think I really struggled with.
Where was that coming from, though?
I don't know where it was coming from.
Okay.
And like, I spoke to my mum so many times about it. My mum's most you've played this game a million times, just get on with it. And you know what? Some people might look at it as harsh, but I think that's what has helped me throughout my career. Mm-hmm. Because if I had been babied and whatever, I don't think I would have done as well as I did. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it was crazy and it crippled me. Like I can think of games when I was in the championship where I've replayed the game in my head 1,000,001 times the night before, to the point where the next day I can't run.
Oh wow!
Like I remember one time we were playing first game of the season, Middlesbrough against Leicester, and we were playing at home. Mm-hmm. And for the first 30 minutes, I couldn't run. It weren't that I was scared to play. I knew I'm good enough to play, and the chances are I'm going to be one of the better players on the pitch. But it just takes over, and like I'll just get it on the random games. Because I'd like to call myself a big game player, because when it counts, mm-hmm. I play and I'm one of the better players and I make a big impact on the game. But like we could be playing bottom of the league and I know I could get a goal today and I'd be nervous as hell before the game. Like to the point where like eating pre-match the morning of the game, I'm struggling.
Damn. So you're struggling. You can't move. You can't do what you're supposed to, get dressed. You can't.
Everything's just slow and it feels like it's an effort. And then some games I'll wake up and so like I got to the point in my career where when I woke up, I knew what type of game I was having.
Mm-hmm. Based on how your body was.
When I was relaxed, I knew I was going to be the best player on the pitch today. And then there were times where I just woke up and like I'll do that and I'll be shaking.
And it didn't matter which game it was just random, it seemed.
Like random.
Mazza, you know what? You touch on something that is so deep that I hadn't considered, because I see in my son's team, even sometimes, dare I say, my son, where for whatever reason I would say it looks like they've got shackles on the ankle, because he's super quick. I mean, Andrew, you know, he can shift. But there's games where it looks like he's treading mud. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Do you know what I mean? But when you ask him, how are you? He will always say, fine. But you've just got me thinking that maybe something else is going on. Maybe, and I think it's that. The one thing I do know about my son, and I feel like you have it as well, is that desire and that hunger, that will to win. Sometimes you want to win so bad that you're like a stone, if you get what I'm saying. Like the thought of winning, you just want to do damage, but it's the wanting to do damage that stops you from being able to do the damage, if that makes sense.
So I realized it very early. And I wish my mum was here, because I'd get her on the camera for 2 seconds. Because
what would she say?
I'd stopped my parents coming to watch me play from the age of 12 until throughout my whole football career. So my mum has watched me play in a stadium once. And that was the last time she came, because she said I didn't play well and I was dying to impress her. And that was the truth.
That's what you felt?
Yeah. So I could have been in a 100-seater stadium, but just knowing my mum and dad are in that building,
I think so,
I'd crumble because I'm dying to impress. So I'd actually stop them from coming to anything.
So did they apply pressure, or was it just you wanting to impress them?
Zero. My mum and dad have never ever said, I want you to become a professional footballer. Never. They just let me play and supported me when they needed to. And yeah, my mum throughout my whole career has never ever watched me. Like even when I played the internationals in Gambia, my mum lives in Gambia now. When I played in Gambia, she'd never come. But my mum gets really anxious as well. And every time I play, she always fears the worst, how I'm going to come off there with an injury, especially after I did my ACL.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah. It was only my dad. In the end, like when I was in the championship, my dad would come and watch, and I was comfortable with that. But my mum, no.
What, was it because your mum got anxious why you wanted to make sure that you did well, do you think? Or something else? Or can't put your finger on it?
No, because when I was younger, I didn't know she got anxious.
Right.
It was just a thing that I had in my head that I had to play like Messi every game if my mum and dad came and watched.
Makes sense.
And I struggled with it. And I identified it early, and I just said to them, like, just don't come. Yeah. So that they would literally travel, drop me off, and go home.
Oh, wow.
Well done for identifying it early. It's a point that one of the coaches that joined the podcast said, and sometimes we don't appreciate the level of scrutiny today that our boys playing. And someone said, like, you know, at least you had the freedom to go to training on your own. At least you had the freedom to go to training and make mistakes, and you were still able to identify it. In today's world, we are at every training session, group session, one-to-one session, football match again, district match. Do you know what I mean? And we are literally tearing strips, and I can see some people in the chat who've just liked and subscribed saying, speak for yourself. We are literally tearing strips out of our boys for getting turned in a group session. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, the level of scrutiny is so mad. They don't even have the freedom to make mistakes in training without them being pulled upon. And so I'm just saying that is a version of what you have described, and it's just making me think like, wow, like, where are they going to just get the peace to just be free? Do you know what I mean? Because I think there's something about the freedom to just play the game.
Well, they don't play in the cages. They don't go over big pitch and play. There is no just go over the park with your mates and play. There's none of that at this age anyway. So Muzzle was playing with that freedom with his mates, and then went in and played, I guess. But our kids don't have that, like you say. And most of what they're playing is paid for, right? So once it's paid for, and you're that parent, this is costing me 50 quid a month. This is costing me £10 a session, right? Money changes everything. It changes the way you view things. The kid can't be free and just have he can't have a bad session because you feel like he's not learning, or he's not putting it in, or he doesn't want to be there. And it's like you're paying for it. And then you've not bought your Louis Vuitton trainers, I'm speaking about you, Dejinho, because you've had to pay £200 signing on fee or whatever it is, a part payment. So in the back of your mind, you know that, he doesn't know that, but then you feel a type of way when he's not performing.
100%.
And it's terrible. It is terrible. And you're right. The scrutiny our boys are under, being in the positions they're in. And I don't want to keep saying echo, because there's fantastic leagues around it. The London and the UK, you got JPLs, you got Sale Kent League that we hardly ever mention, so shout out to them. But they're at the top level of Echo A. Everyone's looking at them. Scouts are looking at them. They know this. So, yeah, the pressure is to perform every week. So there is scrutiny from us. There is scrutiny from themselves. There's scrutiny from their teammates. There's a lot of eyes. You're right. So I think to your point, Deji, Muzza, like the way you've managed that is remarkable, because I feel like you're in great company, because I think Thierry Henry, should have mentioned on today's pod given the weekend, but Thierry Henry mentions on, I think, the Diary of a CEO podcast, shout out to those guys, that he stopped his dad watching him play. Mm-hmm. But it was from a different reason, because his dad applied a lot of pressure to him. His dad, I think, said when he had scored, they'd won 6-0 and he'd scored all 6 goals, that he could have done better, which is just wild. But I guess it helped him inadvertently. But he's had to stop him coming to play, him coming to watch. And you did a similar thing, but for very different reasons. I just want to touch on that still, just a little bit. And I just trying to find out where that came from. Like, were you the same way with your parents in school? Like when they came to your parents, even or with your schoolwork, were you always eager to please, or were they hard on you at school?
No, not really. You know, like me and my mum are literally best friends.
It sounds like you've got a good relationship, to be fair.
Literally best friends. Like my dad's passed now, but my mum, literally best friends. Talk to her about anything that goes on in my life, and I just identified that when they did come and watch, it took the fun out of the game for me, because I was more worried about how I could impress them rather than enjoying the game at the time, and which is why I am so vigilant when I'm taking my son to school, to football now. And like when you talk about what happened that day, the guy screamed at first, and I've looked at him.
Then
he screamed again, and then you've heard, and then said, because I was going to say like, oh, they're 5 years old. But
bearing in mind, this is not a match. This is a soccer school. They're just having a little game, and it made me really apprehensive when my son's mum wanted him to start going football, because I didn't buy a football in the house because I didn't want Naz to feel pressured that he had to play football. And it was more her that pushed it and was like, oh, I think we should start taking him here, or we should start taking him there. And it made me uncomfortable at first going to watch him, because I knew how I felt when my parents watched me. But now my son's a lot more confident than me. I can tell already. Probably gets that from his mom as well. He's a lot more confident than me, and he actually quite enjoys it. But I just make sure that I know my position when I'm there. I think the only time I ever say anything to him is when I feel like he's not concentrating, or the coach is trying to show him a trick or whatever, and he's looking over there or doing cartwheels. That's the only time. But other than that, when it comes to the football or whatever, I don't say a word. Like, he'll run over to me and go, oh, Daddy, did you see that? Are you proud? And that breaks me, because I'm like, that's how I felt in my head. All I wanted to do was, but I want him to just enjoy the game.
Yeah. Do you know what? What you said there is so poignant. It's mad, because I feel like you have a special privilege, obviously, for being a pro that we who weren't pros just don't have an insight to. So I've got a good friend of mine. I hope he doesn't mind me calling out his name, but I will call it out, Andre. He's also an international. And when I met him with my daughter's team, he mentioned the fact, I used to just see this guy just stand there. Wouldn't say a word, just be watching his daughter. It's not saying nothing, just unbothered. Anyway, I got talking to him. Found out that, pardon?
Books.
Might be Caribbean, Jamaican international. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, we're talking, and he's like, Dej, you just want your kids to just enjoy the game. And he made one big statement that really changed my life. It really changed my life, but also the trajectory of my son's journey. He said, your son, your daughter's got the rest of their life to be stressed. So let them enjoy the game.
100%.
And that, for me, just blew my mind. And he just, because I used to say to my wife, I'd be like, this guy, he's so chilled. And she said, he's probably so chilled because he knows how dirty this industry can be, how cutthroat. And if you know how cutthroat and how tough it is, you're not going to want to rush in there like us who have no clue, trying to arrest our kids in there at 6 years old. You know what I mean? And I that's, you know, and I get, and you're coming with the same energy. You're not even saying a word to your son. Whereas me, when I was on the come up, I am shouting at my son, let alone having a conversation. I'm kick that ball, run harder, do this, do that. And what a pleasure it must be for you to be able to kick back and say, you know what, you really do need to enjoy. Because some parents, I think they genuinely forget that. The kind of King Richard, you ball at all costs, and if you don't do it, then you will do it, is the kind of environment that we're in. But you know, for you to just
100%. It's and you know what, yeah. as a parent, I know you want to push your child to play football and you want them to develop. And I think that's very important because I feel like kids need a little shove sometimes, a little guidance. But honestly, what Andre said to you is they literally have the rest of their careers to be stressed, and they are going to be stressed. My mum has said throughout my whole career, I cannot wait for the day you retire.
Oh, wow.
That's what she says all the time. She's always said it. I cannot wait because the ups and downs are literally unbelievable. Like, so as a young, this from their academy phase and pre-academy, honestly, whatever you do, try and let them enjoy it because you don't want to steal their joy. Because once they get to a certain place and they start signing a professional contract, for me, signing a professional contract is the easiest part. People might say it's the hardest bit. I think that's the easiest bit. Is staying there and turning up every day and having that enthusiasm to train, to deal with the pressure, the criticism, all of that, because that will come, especially if you want to go and play at a certain level and play for certain clubs. So at this age, I'm just so careful. And if anything, the only thing I want him to work on and I will get onto him about is kicking the ball properly, like not toe punting, controlling the ball and just enjoying himself. And the first thing, when we get in the car, the first thing I say is, did you enjoy yourself? Did you have fun? And that is it. Because that's all I care, that did you enjoy yourself? Because I've probably let 60% of my career pass me and not enjoyed it. So I'm so wary of that. And I've got a little brother. I never made him play football because I knew from day dot he doesn't have the heart for football. Because a lot of kids can have the ability and their parents will push them, but they just don't have the heart to play football.
Yeah, I make you right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow. How quickly did playing football at the professional level become a job for you?
I'd say probably a job where, how do I define job? Because are you doing it for the money? Or are you, because I still enjoy football till today.
Yeah.
I still enjoy getting up and training, or I won't be playing at 37 still.
I hear that.
You know what I mean? But
I guess what I mean, okay. So I guess you play football, even at the youth team, I guess you can walk away. You play under kind of your terms to a degree. But when you become a professional footballer, I feel like you got some of it as a youth team player, but now your living, your rent, your mortgage, your livelihood is determined by your contract. And also there's Boxing Day games, there's not having a Christmas, there's literally leaving your family on Christmas Day to go to a hotel or go and train to be ready for a Boxing Day game. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, all of this stuff stops becoming fun because you have to continue to be ultra professional. This, don't get me wrong, you're having generally a better lifestyle and living than probably the majority of
people think that
country.
I don't think you have a better lifestyle. Yeah. I don't think you have a better lifestyle. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it. But opportunities.
Yeah, you have means of building a good life. But in terms of lifestyle, I don't think there's any fun in being with a footballer. Like I think if you spoke to a lot of people's wives and girlfriends, they'd probably tell you the same thing. Like, I probably wouldn't be with a footballer ever again. My sister's married to one now, and she says it all the time. Like, if we were, God forbid, to ever have a divorce, I'd never be with a footballer again, because the ups and downs and having to deal with the disappointment of one day you're playing, the next day you're not playing, one day you've played great, the next day you've been booed off by the fans. It's hard to deal with. And I'm guilty of it. The people
you bring it home.
The people you take it out on. No, to be honest, I've not been too bad with that. But in terms of my partner, she'd probably feel my energy. She'll feel my vibe, and I'm kind of snappy towards her. And yeah, the people closest to you, like, end up suffering. Like, some people are obviously a lot worse than me. But yeah, it becomes the pressure's just never ending. Like, it's never ending. It's every week. I always say, people think footballers get paid to perform. I think we get compensated for everything we go through in terms of our body and mentally.
Say it again. Say it again. Just say it slowly. Let people understand it.
So I think, like, always, like, people on socials, whatever, footballers get this, footballers get that. Footballers get compensated for what they put their bodies through and what they have to deal with mentally. Because mentally, like, you'd be so surprised how many footballers deal with anxiety, depression, but still have to turn up on a Saturday and perform in front of you just so to make you happy.
It's so,
I don't even want to be there at that moment, because I've been that.
It's so true, Muzza. Sorry to cut you. It's just that, you know, the more I do these streams, in my other hat, one of the things I've been good at is to tear into Premier League players, for example. I won't talk about my club.
We all do.
I'm ripping them. I'm like, you're rubbish, this and that. But the truth of the matter is, to play in the Premier League, you must be of a certain... To play professional football...
It's a different world.
You can kick ball. It's a different gravy. But you're right. Like, too often we're looking at the positives. You know, even the negative comments I say about my club, my manager... Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure it gets to the players. Even in the stands, you hear the horrible things people are saying, and you think, rah, like, what world are you from? And you're expected to just take it. You're expected to just deal with it. Especially when you're going to...
You walk past them after the game, and they'll say a madness. You're just meant to just go...
They've paid their money, so they're entitled to say what they like. That's what they feel. It's tribalism, and people are going to hate me for this, but actually, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I'm not going to say. I've said it on there before, but I'm not going to say it. But it is tribalism, and you're right. I've seen it. People think they know you. They feel like you have to speak to them. This is the happy times. They will be in a toilet with you. They want to shake your hand. They haven't washed their hands, mind you. And they just feel like they know you because they see you every week on TV, or they follow you, and they support the club you play for. And that's when it's good times. They'll stop you at a restaurant. You're with your family, clearly just trying to be with your family. So this is where I think your point about compensation is, like, so real. And I talk on things like, I'm just going to give an example, and Muzza, you can tell me if I'm wrong or right here, but like, footballers' careers are shorter than the average working career. So yes, you may get paid a little bit more after tax, maybe a little bit more, depending on where you play, but you still have to provide for your family. So you still have to get a mortgage, but you can't get a 25-year, 30-year mortgage because your career isn't 25 or 30 years. So you get a mortgage, and I believe your mortgages are front-loaded, and you literally almost have to...
I had an 8-year.
You had an 8-year mortgage.
8 year. They won't give me no longer than an 8 year.
Wow. There you go. So all this money that you're getting has to then be put on your mortgage. And you can't just live... The other side of the coin is, because you are a person of status, to varying degrees, footballers, but you can't... A lot of them can't just live where they normally live or grew up. They have to move out to a bit of a more secluded area just so they don't get all that hate and have a bit of privacy. So it's going to cost you a bit more, and you've got 8 years to pay that off. So that is pressure to perform. And that's where the anxiety comes. Say that again, sorry?
And at the same time having to take care of your family, especially from my background, African background and whatever. Because my biggest driving force and determination came from being able to take care of my family. My dream was to be able to buy a house for my mum here and be able to build a house for her in Gambia.
Oh, wow.
And that was literally that's what kept me going at times when I thought, this is long today, or I didn't fancy getting up for training on a Monday because of that pressure of I've got there. And then when I did get there, it was, well, I've got to carry this on because I've got to get to the end of this 8-year mortgage. I've got to get the next contract. I've got to be able to take care of this, take care of that. And then it obviously changes again when obviously I've had my son.
Yeah.
That pressure comes as well. But now I'm at the point where I can enjoy it. Now I go onto the pitch and I don't care. Yeah.
Mother, can I just ask a question though? And I know it's slightly digressing, but just put it on the flip side. So I remember going to my club, my pro club that I love, and we were doing a stadium tour, and the person that was doing the stadium tour was getting giddy about the fact that Gareth Bale had left his underwear in the changing room and that he took it. I mean, that's another story, because I thought that was extremely strange personally. But there was something that made me feel like, could teams be doing more? Because it felt like the players must have at one stage been in a bit of a bubble. Like, that's not the real world where people are worshipping you. You have this status, mortgage advisors are licking their lips. Car showrooms are literally bending over backwards as you pull up at the traffic light. All of that stuff kind of going on. How did you stay grounded, or were you able to stay grounded, or were you up in the clouds for a bit?
To be honest, I'm not very materialistic anyway. So that in terms of watches, I always said to myself, I'd never buy a Rolex until I bought my first house. I stuck to that. In terms of enjoying myself and taking my friends out for food, taking out my sisters, partying, holidays, I've had my fair share. I've spent so much money. So much money, cars, everything. But because I'm not really a showy person, I managed to keep it to what I could afford. You know what I mean? Even though I now I look at it and I'm like, I've wasted so much money, but I've had a good time. I mean, I've had a good time, and it is hard to keep yourself grounded. Like I've played with so many players. Like I'm talking earning 10, 15, 20K, and like now they're struggling. And it's just because of the pressures of, obviously they always say the keeping up with the Joneses, having too much house than you need, having too many cars, having to look after everyone. And to be fair, that's probably my biggest one, like looking after everyone. I feel like as a footballer, and even as a parent, letting your child look after themselves first before they take care of anything else. Because you don't understand, you don't know how long football's going to last. They say the average league career is like 6 years. Yeah. So that ain't enough to
pay the mortgage.
They ain't enough to look after everyone forever.
To look after yourself.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a championship club and you're earning 15K plus.
Can I just dive into that, and please only answer what you're comfortable to answer, because I
don't ask me how much you got paid, Dej.
No, I won't.
I won't get a loan, Dej.
No. But I wonder if you've had this thought with your boy. But sometimes like Andrew talked about the investment we make. It is an investment. We're spending this money, one, because we believe that there is a je ne sais quoi about our child, and if they're able to make it, great, and if they don't, I mean, my personal perspective is I'm going to push my boy to the very best he can be. If he makes it, great. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But I have harbored this thought of, if he did make it, what does looking after look like? Not that I'm expecting it, but I'm kind of expecting it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking at Andrew's face because legit, is that something from your perspective? Should parents be expecting, if their child was to get to the threshold, should they be expecting to be looked after? I know it's a bit of a strange question, but I'm sure it goes through people's head. Like, right, like, are you gonna hook me up with a yard, or are you just gonna do me dirty? You know, like all sorts there.
You know what I think? Yeah? I think especially in our culture, the black culture, we've all struggled together.
Yeah.
So there's the pride of being able to take care of your parents is probably at the top of anything before you do anything. So naturally, they're always going to want it. But I'd say, as a parent, maybe I'm in a different position now because I can kind of look after myself. But I'd push him first to look after himself. Get a house for yourself. Get this. Invest in this. Invest in that. Then you can. You get what I mean? Yeah. Because what that does naturally, and a lot of footballers will agree with me this, when you feel like you're financially stable off the pitch and you're not having to rely on that next paycheck or that next contract or whatever, it releases a lot of pressure and you can enjoy your football. But if you've got 10K, 20K coming in and you're having to spend 15 of it, 16 of it every month to look after everyone, the pressures of next week come. I've got to do this again. Or if I get injured, we're back to square one.
Yes.
So I feel like as a parent, yeah, you're pushing them and you're guiding them and you want to, but when they do make it, that's when the real work starts. Make sure they take care of themselves first because it will enhance their career.
For real.
Do you hear that, Dej?
100%.
Yeah. I hear that, but I felt like even for the people that are regular viewers, I think it's a question that I'm sure everyone deep down in the back of their mind, like you said, some people are in different financial positions. There are some parents who are literally, it's their savings. Some are not even eating to enable their child.
Some have given up their jobs.
Do you go what I'm saying? So these are real questions, real conversations, you know?
No, 100%. Yeah. And this is what I'm saying, because I've been that. And I wanted to look after my mum that bad, yeah? When I was a youth team player, I was earning £55 a week. I used to give my mum 10 of it.
Wow. Oh, nice.
That's what I'm saying. So my thing was always, my thing was always like, when I make it, mum needs to be taken care of. And there was probably times where I actually overdid it. I should have been a lot smarter with what I did. And maybe my mum could have pushed me and gone, Musa, I think you should buy this for yourself first. Because a lot of parents will be thinking, oh yeah, when he makes it, I'm getting a Mercedes. And I think as a parent, you should be like, don't buy me this Mercedes. Get a house first. You can get me that after.
Yeah. I guess you didn't know the ins and outs of...
Yeah, I didn't know how to handle money itself. I mean,
no education there, like from football clubs.
I had to learn that. I had to learn all of that myself because you don't get that from football clubs.
Yeah, and on that point,
you can't trust financial advisors.
No,
you can't. You've got more money than them, so how can you trust them?
True.
How can they tell you?
Very good point.
It's real talk.
And I've learned that. Learned that obviously through obviously financial literacy and investing and stuff like that, and I control everything of mine.
That's amazing. Like literally, I was going to ask you two questions there. One was a quick throwaway, but talk to us about the player car park. That the pressure of the player car park. You're laughing.
It's a real life pressure. No, I don't even think it starts. I don't even think it starts with the cars. I think just a wash bag.
The wash bag.
The wash bag.
You gotta get that Gucci. You gotta get a Louis. When the boys are picking up your wash bag, like, bro, what's this?
Hey, the wash bag.
And that's where it starts. And then it starts with you have a couple night outs, and then you've got to have the clothes to match everyone else. And I always say you can tell a footballer from a mile away.
Yeah.
We all dress the same. You know what I mean? And
then,
Huh?
It's like a halo. When I saw you in the summer, it's like you were an angel. There's like a halo over your head.
I don't think I'm like that. A lot of people that actually meet me, like they always say, "No, I would never know you played football." I'm not materialistic at all. I've got obviously some nice bits and whatever, but I'd rarely wear anything nice. But yeah, the pressures is real, and then you go in, and when really you should be driving on normal, something small that you could have just rag it, crash it, and whatever. My first car was a Merc.
Hey.
Start small then.
Okay. Brand new as well.
Hey.
Like when I think about it, I'm like, what was I doing? And that's where I needed that guidance. And like most, you don't need that.
Yeah. And how important are senior pros?
Good senior pros are very important.
And the bad ones are just...
Bad ones will help you spend your money. Just like what they've done with their money. And I'd like to think I'm one of the good ones. Because I've spent so much money, I'm always onto the young boys. Buy a house when you can. Put away this. You know what I mean? I'm not a big fan of saving money. I think you should invest as much as you can. But and now like a lot of the young players, boys that I've played with, they come to me, Amos, what do you think I should do? I've got this, I've got X amount. Do you think I should put into this? Should I put into that? And I try and be the person that I probably needed when I first started earning some proper money.
Yeah, no, that's special, and that's definitely needed. What do you? Sorry, Des, I see you got a question brewing there. But just on this point with the senior pro and the youngsters, when you see these youngsters coming, I'm assuming you've played with some youngsters that have come in from, say, Premier League clubs and 17, 18, think they're the bee's knees. What does that relationship look like?
You know what? I'm one of the first team pros that has always taken care of the young boys because I know how it felt when I first went in there. And especially back in the day, it's not as bad now. Back in the day, the young player would get treated like shit, basically. They're onto you for everything. You misplace a pass, you would have thought you killed someone. Like, they're trying to highlight you're traveling away games, they're making you stand up and make teas for 2 hours of the journey. Like, you used to get proper, this is your introduction into football, where now, because I know what I went through and how it felt and kind of feeling inferior and nervous, and I've always been the person that I'll give the young player the ball, go and take him on, and nutmeg him, and I'll be laughing, and I just try and build their confidence and make them just feel as comfortable as possible, as quick as possible. But so like now it's I feel like it's a lot easier because I feel like football is becoming a young man's game. You go into the changing room and there's a couple older players and everyone else is around 20 to 28. A lot of people want to sign older players. So it's easier to integrate into changing rooms. So it's definitely a lot different. But yeah, I just try to make them feel comfortable, and a lot of the boys that I've played with still to this day will shout me and go, Amos, how are you? I need help with this. What do you think? This agent spoke to me. What do you think I should do? And yeah, I just try and help as many people as I can. I'm actually going to go into the agent world because everyone that I've played with has gone, listen, like you'd be a good agent.
Yeah, sounds like it. Sounds like you've got the.
Yeah, no, that's probably what I want to go into because as I said, and I've said it a few times already, I just want to be the person that I needed. For sure.
Yeah. Do you know what? And that's always the right way to look at it. In my personal work, people always ask me, how did you come up with this project idea? And I say, I'm trying to provide a service that I wish I had when I was growing up. you know, in terms of employment and this and that. I try and pave the way and to try and make it as simple as possible. I've got two questions, really. I've enjoyed this conversation so much. I think the first question is, you know, you kind of brush past the fact that you are under Dennis Wise.
And Paul Ince.
And Paul Ince, like, these are legends. For me, they're legends, you know. And I just wanted to get from you what that experience was like. I mean, the fact that Paul Ince is personally calling you and your mum to bring up the MK Dons, that for me was like he's saying, you're my guy, and what that feeling was like. And then my second question, sorry, because I know we're probably rounding up now, is about how tough it is to get into the game now, and what your advice would be for parents or for a young person on the come up. I think maybe if it's fair to say, Muzza, around when you were coming through, you were probably less likely to go abroad. Maybe going abroad is a shout, because I'm looking at the English league on all levels of the pyramid. And I can't lie, it just looks long, to be honest. It just looks long, and it looks like profile. And it's jarring me. And I guess what I want to know is when you do become that agent, what are you going to do different to give children like ours a chance? So I rambled, but I'm happy to ask that question and help myself. This is what I do.
No, so in terms of Paul Ince and Poyet and that, I got really lucky, and I feel like as a footballer you need a lot of luck. You need people to take a liking to you. And I remember so I got signed, and I remember they obviously knew I was from Peckham, and Paul Ince was obviously Dennis Wise was obviously at Millwall, so obviously he knows Peckham well. Had dealt with players. And he had managed my cousin, Cherno Samba. Didn't like Cherno at all. They didn't get along at all. And I remember I get called into the first team changing room. Dennis Wise is on the massage bed and he's getting a massage. And he comes, come here. I sit down next to him and he goes, I like you. But if you are anything like your cousin, I'll get rid of you in an effing second. And that's what he said. And obviously a lot of the older parents will know who Dennis Wise and Gus Poyet and Ince are. Like, very passionate, intense. But I just got lucky with them and they just liked me. Like, I remember pre-season. So I started pre-season and the youth team were training with the first team, and Dennis Wise is doing all the running and he's making sure I run with him because he wanted to push me. And he's seen something in me. And I had a good youth team manager who liked me as well. And Paul Ince just liked me from me just playing with the first team. And he just said that he felt like I had a bit of character. Liked that I wouldn't bow down to like the first team players. And I just had that bit of dog about me. And and he ended up looking after me. And,
before you go on, I disagree though. I'm sorry, I disagree. I don't think you got lucky. I don't believe in luck, if I'm honest. I believe in preparedness meeting opportunity. And I think there's something about your character. I think there's something about the way you handle yourself, carry yourself, that warmed or got these guys thinking you're someone to invest in. And I think that's what it was. And then you're too humble to say it, but I think that's what it was. I don't think just for some reason they just decided you're the guy I'm going to look out for. I think what you were doing, maybe unbeknown to yourself, but I think that's what it was. And I think that's the same reason your mates, your professional colleagues are telling you to go into agency, because you've got that air. People listen. You probably look, you probably listen. You probably don't jump to conclusions. You probably take everybody at face value and try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt and things of that nature, and try to be the best person you can be in this very difficult environment. So that's testament to yourself.
I think when I'm talking about luck, I'm just having the right manager, because a right coach makes a massive difference
Hear that?
to a player. Like, honestly, you would not. The more your children go through the footballing pyramid and you watch them progress, you will be like, you'll look back at it and go, you see this coach here, yeah? He's the reason why my son is there.
I hear that.
We got so lucky to have him when he was this age, or, you know what I mean, at this time. And I just felt like my career up till then was up and down, up and down. I didn't know if I was going or coming. And I just land somewhere and they just really like me. Like, it weren't because I've gotten better overnight. It was just they liked my character, and I just felt like, yeah, they just seen something.
Favor. You found favour.
Yeah. And and then obviously I ended up going MK Dons with him. And to be honest, so I've not spoken about this, but I'll speak about this because, and this is what I mean by football and letting your kids enjoy it, because I ended up going MK Dons, signing my professional, over the moon. Made my debut against Sheffield United in the EFL Cup, and I played for 60 minutes. Did not enjoy any minute of that 60 minutes. I was a nervous wreck. Like, I was that nervous. I remember the whole game just hearing a ring. So even where people were calling for the ball, I couldn't hear them.
Oh, wow.
Because I was nervous. And I remember Paulin's call. I come off the pitch. He takes me off at 60 minutes, and he goes to me, "Listen, if you effing play like that for me ever again, I'll never play you again." He goes, "I told you to go out there and express yourself.
Yeah.
You've gone there, you touch. I've not put you on the pitch for that."
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. The minute you go into that pro world, a lot of the enjoyment goes out of it. That pressure of having to perform. But we'll go on to the other part in terms of getting into football and surviving. I feel like the first thing is parents need to be very patient.
Yeah.
You've got to be extremely patient, because Jack can do step overs and run past everyone now, doesn't mean your son should be doing the same thing or comparing them. Because everyone develops so different. Like, I've played with throughout schoolboys. I remember back in the day where you used to play for your district, South London and London and East London. You know what I mean? So you'd have obviously the Chelsea players, the Arsenal players, and whatever. And I played with so many players, and I'd say 95% of them did have nowhere near a career the same as me, and I was on the bench and never played. So that's why I am so careful with my son on how I am with him, because he ain't nowhere near some of the players that I've seen at some of the soccer camps. But because I've seen how certain players were the best thing since sliced bread at 15, and then by the time they got to 22, were playing like non-league somewhere where you'd never expect them to play, just shows you how patient you need to be in your child's development.
Say that line again. Say that line again, please. Just that last line. Especially for Dej.
I'm patient.
You have to be patient in your child's development. Like, you have to be. I said it to one of the boys at Wadham Lodge the other day. They had the where they on Wednesday nights. Is it Wednesday? Yeah. On Wednesday nights they have the Arsenal pre-academy.
Yeah, the Halen stuff. Yeah.
And I was speaking to one of the boys that I know, and he was angry that his son got sidestepped and they scored. He's 5 years old. You do know I didn't even start playing football at 5 years old. Like, let him enjoy it. Honestly. Like, let him enjoy it. Because what you will do is you will regret it. Because a lot of parents push kids to the point where they don't enjoy playing football anymore. And if your son, at the age of 16, is looking at football as a job because he wants to take care of you, you fail. Because he probably won't survive.
It's mad. That's mad.
And I could probably guarantee that he won't survive.
Yeah. And I hear you, it's way too much pressure there.
Way too much pressure. And football's changed now because of social media. Everyone's making Instagrams for their children, all of that. Like, you don't understand, that is just building more and more pressure for that child. Like, let them develop.
Especially when a scout comes to watch them and they don't look like their highlight reel. I know scouts are cleverer than that, but
yeah, they're clever. They're gonna come and watch you a few times before they make any type of decisions on you. But yeah, just let them develop, man. Let them develop, because this is the enjoyable part.
Yeah. So
when you have to go in a 60,000 seater stadium and your child is getting booed by the fans, there's no enjoyment in it. Enjoy it now. Enjoy watching him develop and looking back 6 months. Like, I look at my son now, and I was saying to my sister's husband the other day, and I send him videos all the time because he plays professionally as well. And he goes, I can see a massive difference in that 6 months. And for me, there's nothing that makes me more happier. He might never play football, but just seeing the improvement is unbelievable.
Yeah, and even when you made that statement now about 60,000 people and getting booed, I mean, I'm my son. People who know me, and Andrew knows me, this is how we met. I'm my son's biggest defender. I'm ready to do it. I'm not gonna lie, I've got a rep. I know I got a rep, grassroots rep. I got the biggest mouth. But it did dawn on me just now. What am I gonna do with 60,000 people who are against my son? I'm just sitting there with my head down and my woolly hat over my face, because there's nothing you can do. You're powerless.
And that's why I say let him enjoy. And do you know what? Not only let him enjoy, give yourself the chance to enjoy it. Because you think you're going to enjoy it when they become professional. You probably won't.
Yeah.
You probably won't. Your son is going to have a playoff final. You ain't going to sleep the night before. You may as well be playing out there with it.
It's true.
So enjoy it now.
I said it the other day, actually, funny enough. I said that we're running out of time. Because I don't know about you, but I must look at Andrew's face when I say this, yeah. Well, I bloody love this Echo League. you know what I'm saying? I'm bloody love it, mate. It's great. And I sometimes I'm wondering, why do I love it so much? But it is it's almost like we're in our own bubble. The thrill of the games, the competitiveness, the banter, all of that is going on. And I'm saying I've probably got 4 more years of this, and then it could be over. And then what? And so I'm even thinking of it from that perspective. I'm not even thinking, the next level, the next pressure, the life that you've lived. I'm just trying to enjoy what is fast, which feels like the doors are almost closing shut, because 4 years is not long. I've done 4 years. I've done under 7 to under 11.
Yeah.
And so I've only got 4 years to go. Andrew, I don't know. Have you ever stopped to think time is fast spent?
Not in terms of Echo, because I hate the Echo. As much as I love the Echo, I hate the Echo. No, but it's a different. I come from a different point, being a coach in the Echo, right? So I get a different side of it sometimes. So that annoys me a lot of the time. I don't hate it. Hate's a strong word. I don't really hate a lot of things, apart from them not down the road. But that's another story. But I think with regards to the window closing and the happiness, I think if the aspiration is for your son to play at the highest level that they can play at, I think there's opportunities there for our kids and my son. And as he progresses, his will to win and desire to win is, as you know, it's like ridiculous. And at the same time, I want him to just enjoy it. That question you said, Muzza, about did you have fun? That's the first question I try and answer, regardless of how he's played or what the score was. Because I'm trying to get that psychology that's what it's about. It's about fun, it's about enjoyment. And I always call football the gift. I want to give my son the gift of football because I want him to be 40 years old and still playing football with his mates, with his colleagues, whatever it is, still keeping fit, in having enjoyment from it, being able to watch it, being able to converse about it and just make friends and be comfortable walking into any environment and being able to speak about the world's game, which is football. So I call it the gift. But I feel like as he moves forward in his footballing career, I think that the pressures will come. And some of those he'll put on himself, and I'm trying not to put any on him. But as they get older, as he gets closer, the pressure will come. So that's where I see the window closing for me, Dej. To answer your question. But I want to take it back. Probably our last question before we go into our quick fire end questions. This is for you. With regards to your son, if he does show promise, if you see potential and there's opportunities for him, what do you think your parenting will look like? How many sessions a week? Will there be one-to-ones? Will there be small group sessions? I'm saying now, this is picture the scene. He's been scouted by a Cat 1 club, free academy, under nines. They want to sign him, right? If you haven't done it to this point, what will change, or what do you think that would look like from your perspective?
So it's interesting that you say that because two of my closest friends coach in academies.
Okay.
And I ask them all the time, do I need to put my son in more coaching classes, or do I feel like, do they believe in ball mastery sessions? Because obviously we come from an old school where we just played in the cage with our friends for 12 hours of the day, and that's how we learned how to play football. But football's different now, where I believe the players are built different. Both, they can kick with both feet, turn off both shoulders.
Yeah.
They check their shoulders naturally, and that's because of how much parents invest in them. So for me, I'm actually not sure, and I will kind of go with how my son, how I see him. Do I need to push him more, or is he the same now where he's like, Papa, let's go and play football in the park? Because if he wants to do that, then I'll do it with him all day long. But how much would I push him? I'd push him to the point where he's still enjoying it. The minute I see anything but enjoyment in his face, I won't push it anymore. That's for sure.
But what are your mates saying though?
So one of my friends that coaches, he's the manager at Crystal Palace, is on the 14s. And so me and him always have debates over this, because I have to remind him on how many players Crystal Palace have lost because of they didn't think they were good right now. And I will speak to him before he's released players. And I'm like, are you sure? Because this player might actually be someone, you know what I mean? Obviously, the academy thing is, once you get to about 14s, it's more, is he athletic? Is he this? Is he that? Is he technical? But then I feel like the minute you step, because I'm a firm believer of 18's football and 21's football is not even football. Have you not watched that?
I've heard it. It's
a different world to being a professional footballer.
Yeah.
Completely playing for 3 points on a Saturday and working on a pattern of play that you've done all week is two different ball games.
Mm-hmm.
So some players are unbelievable academy players. Then you have to go and play for 3 points and play under pressure, and it's a different ball game. Like, I've played with so many players who can perform on a training pitch. On a training pitch, they are unbelievable. They go out there on the green and the bright lights, and they can't play. And that's how I separate the academy football to being a professional.
How much of that is to do with the win bonus?
Nothing to do with the win bonus.
Nothing.
You don't even think of a win bonus.
Right.
You go out there and compete. And competing when it's tiki-taka football, if you lose your man and they score, it doesn't mean... If you do that as a professional, you don't play for 5 games. So it's two different games. It's two different games. And what I'd say is, I'd touch on what Dej was saying in terms of like the progression through the careers and whatever. And I believe if I was the head of English football, I'd get rid of the under-21s league and bring back the reserves, because the reserves give you a bit of that realism into men's football as quick as possible. Because I feel like a lot of players now get held back because we need to do well in the under-21 league or win the cup. That's not doing anything for the player. You're killing the player. The quicker you can go out on loan, go out to the National League or go abroad or whatever, the better you'll probably be. 100%. And in terms of playing abroad, I am 100% for it.
Yeah.
If you see your player, if you see your son or your daughter and their progression might be halted because you see he's a right back and he's got Yuri and Timber and somebody else ahead of him, or he's got Jed Spence, you have to be very realistic and think about your child's career and think, oh, maybe we could go to Germany and go and play at Wolfsburg. Or, because if you look at it now with the Prem clubs, look at the last transfer window. How many people got bought from the Championship? English players. None. Everybody gets bought from abroad.
Yeah, they used to. They used to be the shopping window.
Used to be Championship. Look in the champ. That is no longer the champ. The champ's here and the Prem's are over here.
Yes.
So if you see, I'm a firm believer, and I will have this viewpoint as an agent if I'm dealing with top talents, because I'd rather them go abroad to a Czech Republic, Swedish, Norwegian league, and play in the top league there, than go into a League 2. Because you go from being at a Cat 1, playing a certain type of football, and then have to go into League 2 where they're telling you to spin it in the channel and chase after it, and, you've kicked it forward. And that's why you see a lot of academy players leave Cat 1s and don't have careers.
Yeah.
Because when we were younger, we were told never leave England, never look elsewhere. But I've played abroad 3 years. I played in Cyprus for 1 after I left Ipswich, and then Turkey for 2. And I'm 100% for playing abroad. Like, you could go, you'd go to a club playing the Europa Cup. I had the thingy of playing in the Europa Cup, and there was nothing better than that. And you've probably got a better chance of going abroad and playing for a decent club than going into League 2 and still making it to the Prem. So I definitely say to parents, do not turn your eye up, your nose up at it, because you're actually, them going into a League 2 club, probably making their chances of playing at the top level in football nearly impossible.
Do you know what? I would like to say this. I mean, I think you've just saved football. I think you have. Andrew, it took, I don't know how many episodes we've done, but we finally got there at the end. Because on a level, what you've just described is what I've been thinking. And I think some of the pressures is that people think it's Premier League all done. And the reality is getting to the Premier League is like winning the lottery, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying?
There's people in the champ. A lot of players at the champ earning more than people in the Prem.
There you go. And I think just that kind of insight, that open, I always said to myself, as if you can wake up and kick ball and be paid for it, then you're a professional wherever that is in the world. And my brother-in-law had a stint in the Hungarian league. Okay, he wasn't getting paid loads of money, but he had his accommodation paid for, he had his food paid for, he was given a small allowance, and he was kicking ball every week, and he was training in the little gym that they had. Mate, you're a pro. I had to call the FA to get him signed off. And it was like, and he was registered English player, his name over in Hungary. And I was like, right, like they keep track of the players and where they're at. You know what I'm saying? So I was fully gassed. He was fully gassed. And he did that for about a season or two. So everything you're saying, I think you're so right. And the game has moved on. And it is good to see more young boys, girls open to going abroad, because I feel like, I feel like the FA needs to look into this, but it's a shame that we feel that there's no hope in the land that you kind of grew up and learned your trade.
Well, being a professional is hard enough. Obviously, you're basically, the chances are you ain't going to make it. So don't look at England and think England is the be-all and end-all, because you just said the Hungarian league. You go to the Hungarian league as a striker, you've left the academy, you go to the Hungarian league, you score 15 goals. A League Two player scores 15 goals, you're more likely to be signed than the player that scored in League Two, because you're playing in the top league and you are playing in front of 15, 20,000 instead of 3,000. So honestly, you're right. People need to be so open-minded to letting their kids just go and play and because it's finding that right environment for them. And once you find that right environment, the chances are you'll see their progression go through the roof. But don't think, they need to go down the leagues. I'm not a believer of that, and I've done that. So I can actually speak on it. I've played in the Champ, played in League One, played in League Two, played in the National League, and I'm now playing in the National League North. And I look at some of the players playing in the National League North that were at Leeds, Leicester's, good academies, and I'm like, why the hell have you not gone and played abroad? Why are you playing in the National League?
Yeah,
like, this football ain't for you. The way you are built and the way you've been taught how to play football, go and practice your craft somewhere else where they're going to enhance what you've learned all these years. You know what I mean?
For real. Bravo, bro.
Yeah.
I just want to put it out there, Andrew, shamelessly. Please, Mazza, if you can just get that agency set up ASAP. I know a number of top talents. You have on your book straight away.
I'm getting my agency license next summer. So hopefully I'll pass it.
That in itself is for another debate, but I do think having to get your license is a little bit of a barrier, but whatever. We'll talk about that on another day, on the next time you come. But no, I think it's been awesome, and I think you've dropped some gems, some insights. No doubt, the people listening, liking and subscribing, comment, and were you given some food for thought? Because I can tell you, just looking at my eyeballs and Andrew's eyeballs, food was dropped this evening. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think it's awesome. It's an awesome insight to your life, to the pressures of, because we think about the glitz and the glam, but the truth is, it's not all glitz and glam, is it? It's hard work, and it's stress.
It's easy to watch football from the stands.
Yeah,
very easy. It's extremely easy.
Yeah.
These are important elements of the psychology, the pressures of a professional footballer. And I guess now it probably starts with the wash bag, even at youth team level, at scholar level. That's probably where the pressure starts with the money that's in football today. So parents,
guys are wearing Dior's and Louis Vuittons now.
Exactly, I see it. I see it. So parents, you have to be aware. These are some gems. Knowledge has been dropped today. Just before we go though, because we've kept you longer than our shows do go on long, but longer than we probably promised you. We do two things, two questions we've started doing now. One, you don't have to take too long answering, and the other's just quick fire anyway. So I'm sure you're familiar with the 4 footballing pillars: technical, tactical, physical, and psychological. What we've been asking our guests is, what percentage of those 4 pillars do you think makes the best footballer? Given, and no, there's no wrong or right answer. This is your opinion, and your opinion alone.
Psychological, 50%.
Well, you might say something like that.
And then the rest of it equally, I'd say.
Okay.
So that's 17, 16.5 something, is it?
Not too far off Phillips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Psychologically, how you deal with pressure, how you deal with disappointment, the wins, the outside noise, the fans will a lot of the time determine how well you do in football.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you for another gem. And the last question from us is, well, I've got 2. When you have your agency, I want to be part of it, and I want you to come back on and discuss that. So promise us that, please. Thank you.
I've got you.
Cool. So both of those, I hope. Anyway, moving on. The last question is, and before you answer this question, I will warn you, you have to help us with the last question. So the answer to the question. So the question is, can you think of anybody who we haven't had on this show that we should have on this show? And before you answer that, you have to help us get them on. No pressure, but we will clip this up and send it out there if you don't get them.
Yeah. You know what would be sick? What would be really sick, actually? Sorry to put this into your head. I don't know how realistic it would be. Crazy if you still had a relationship with Points.
Yeah, we've not thingied. The last time I seen him, I got in the sack because we beat Blackpool 2-0 and I scored both goals.
Yeah, it was.
When I see him, we do say hello.
Cheers, Gaffer.
Yeah.
But,
Real.
You don't have to tell us now. You can come back to it.
I'll have a think. Because I'm in my head. I'm thinking a youth coach, academy coach would be very good for the viewers.
Yeah.
Even that Crystal Palace one you mentioned, actually.
Yeah.
And he's my best friend, so
yeah, he'll be good.
Oh, done deal. We're getting a Crystal Palace youth coach on now.
It will give you obviously the insight of what it is like. He's been coaching in the academies from under 8s to under 14s now, manager, and he's been there over 10 years now. So
yeah,
there's someone that's going to give you how it is and what the realism of academy football is. It'd probably be him.
Okay, brilliant, perfect. Okay, so we look forward to that one. Brilliant.
No.
Listen, guys, if you're still with us, again, it's been an excellent show. So many gems have been dropped, so much realism. And I just want to say, I'm going to call you by your professional name here, Mustapha Carayol, because I urge the listeners to check you out. If it's just your Wikipedia, just to see your journey, to see the perseverance, the resilience, to see the fact you're an international, you've played overseas, you played in the championship, you got your ex-manager the sack by scoring both goals, to look at your YouTube highlights, to see some of your goals. You do have an affinity with the far post and whipping balls in, I can see. Just to check you out and maybe follow the rest of your career and even look back at some of it. But guys, if you've enjoyed this, we've been Ball at All Cost, and you know what to do. You need to hit that subscribe button so you can get us in your inbox each week. Hit the notification, smash the like, and please leave a comment if you didn't know about the wash bag being a pressure, because I didn't. And I've got a lot of footballers who are friends. I didn't realise that's where it started. Hit us in the comments. And if you're listening on the audio feed, please leave a review and give us a like. And some of those platforms you can subscribe to do that as well. Listen, he's been Mustapha Carayol, Gambian international. We didn't say that. And a professional with over 400 appearances. We've been Ball at All Cost, and we are out.
Thanks, guys.
Indeed.